Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. Today we've got another wedding video, with stories collected from r/Am I the Jerk, r/EntitledParents, and more. Our first story is, Am I the jerk for making my sister pay for my dress? Me, 24-year-old female, and my sister, 26-year-old female, I'll call her Red, don't have the best relationship. Red has always had issues with relationships and them not lasting long, while I've been in a lot of really long relationships. She has purposefully ruined a few of mine, and even tried to get one of my past boyfriends to hook up with her. My sister moved back home because of quarantine making her get fired, and me and my fiance moved back for the time being, since we just ended our last lease and are looking for a home. When we moved in, I brought my very expensive wedding dress and put it in my closet all the way at the back so no one had reason to be near it. Every now and then, my sister asks to borrow a piece of clothing or some shoes, and I almost always say yes since I don't care that much, and I thought maybe it would help our relationship a bit. Our relationship did get a bit better, and she seemed genuinely excited for my wedding, and I thought everything was going to be fine and great. It wasn't. I went out to pick up some food with my fiance and came back to my sister bawling her eyes out to my parents. When I asked what's wrong, everyone went silent. My father was the one to break it to me that my sister had some wine and decided to put on my wedding dress. I immediately went to see the damage. Not only was there wine all over it, the dress had a huge tear in the waist area. Saying I freaked the F out is an understatement, as I had worked so hard to be able to afford this dress and now it was ruined. I told my sister that she was going to pay me back in full. I don't care how long it takes. My parents yelled at me and said there is no way she can afford to give me thousands of dollars for a dress and that I was overreacting. They seem to have the if you can pay for it once, you can pay for it twice mentality. I basically told them to F off, and either they were paying for it or she was. Me and my fiance are now staying in a hotel and desperately searching for a house so we can get out quick. This story has spread through my family, and I keep getting texts saying that I'm a jerk for trying to get my sister to cough up thousands for a dumb dress, and I should just get a cheaper one and have her pay for it, or it was an innocent accident. So I'm wondering, am I a jerk for expecting my sister to pay for what she ruined? Reddit agrees that OP is not the jerk here, and I agree too. It's hard to chalk this up as an accident when the sister had to go into OP's room and dig through to the back of her closet to get access to the dress. Sure, she probably didn't mean to ruin it, but who goes and tries on someone else's wedding dress without their permission? An accident or no, she destroyed a very important possession of OP's. OP deserves to be compensated for that. Our next story is, Am I the jerk for not wanting to invite my sister to my wedding? I want to start by saying my sister and I don't have the best relationship. She didn't meet me until she was 18 because my mom had her as a teenager and put her up for adoption. Her adoptive family provided for her, but even though her adoption was an open adoption, they hated that she has a relationship with her birth family. They are an upper-class family that offers to pay for anything she wants if she does exactly what they say, so she often does. About 3 years ago, my sister got engaged to a wonderful man, and she asked me to be a bridesmaid. I was only 23 at the time, a college student with no money. But I bought the dress, paid for my way to her shower and bachelorette party, single-handedly decorated her entire reception location, and the day before the wedding, her adoptive mom told my sister that she didn't want her bio family at the wedding she was paying for. I also had already booked off work and told my professors I'd be missing a week of school to be the primary caregiver for her 3 children while she went on her honeymoon. So, the day before her wedding, after putting out money I needed for groceries and supporting myself, she uninvited me from her wedding. I am her sister, and she removed me without hesitation or good reason from the most important day in her life. I still watched the kids, of course, because they were innocent in all her issues. But now I'm engaged and planning my wedding, and I don't want to invite her. I don't want to have someone at my wedding that reminds me of how disposable I am if she's getting some cash in return. My fiance says I'm not the jerk, but my mother and brother do. I don't really know what to do, and to be honest, I'm not sure if I'm the jerk or if she is. Help! Reddit says OP is not the jerk, and I absolutely agree. That was awful for the sister to disinvite OP right before the wedding, and her rationale is inexcusable. It's clear that the sister doesn't view OP as family, except when it's convenient for her, and such a person does not deserve a place at OP's wedding. Our next story is, Please shoot people so we can have our wedding illegally. And this looks like a Facebook post. Hey y'all! My fiance and I are getting married in October. We are nervous that the stay-at-home order will be extended past then, and are wondering if any of you would be willing to help if the need arises. We aren't sure if the venue we are planning on having it at will be allowed to be open, or if they will be open regardless. If they can and do, very cool. Current venue is located in Lackawanna County. However, there might be a chance we need a new venue that won't close regardless of the order. Does anyone know of a place that will be open regardless? If there is still an order to close and the event is still going on, I am requesting all guests bring a tyranny defense device, firearm, to keep on site in their vehicle. We are hoping to have at least 20 to 30 men and women be ready and armed to let the ceremony and reception continue unhindered from any oinkers that try to shut it down. If anyone is willing to swing by and stand guard while two freedom-adoring lovebirds enjoy the happiest day of their lives, let me know. We will probably make a donation to you in food or beverage in exchange for private security duties, lol. Anyway, shoot me a PM so my lovely lady feels secure, knowing her day will go unhindered by any uncooked bacon. Hey, maybe the couple in question will get a free stay out of this. At the county jail. Our next story is, am I the jerk for banning my parents from my wedding if they don't attend a tea ceremony? I'm a 29-year-old female going to get married this September, if a certain unnamed virus lets us. For important context, I am white, but my fiancé, 31 male, is Chinese American. I'm going to admit that I'm one of those girls who has been planning her dream wedding since I was a girl. My husband doesn't care as much and told me that I could plan the entire thing to my heart's content with one caveat. There's an important Chinese tea ceremony wherein the bride and groom make tea for both sets of parents, and then the parents give them gifts. It's incredibly important to him, and the only thing he wants on our wedding day. Okay, he also consulted on the food and he wants to marry me, lol. He's been planning the tea ceremony, which will happen shortly before the wedding and will be a smaller ceremony with only family and very close friends. Today, while Zooming with my parents said they found the whole ritual absurd and stupid and that they were going to skip it. Well, considering they're an integral part of that, it doesn't work for me. They couldn't even explain why they thought the ritual was stupid, just that it was. I basically told them that if they skipped the tea ceremony, they should skip the wedding as well. That led to a lot of crying and arguments, and now my parents aren't talking to me, and my sisters have sent me texts about how irrational I'm being, how I'm being cruel, and how I'm being a bridezilla. But this is important to my future husband, so it's important to me. It's the only thing he really insisted upon for this wedding. But they are my parents, and I want them to be at my wedding. Am I the jerk? If you're not familiar with the tea ceremony, one commenter describes it thusly. Not the jerk. Agreed. Ethnically Chinese here. This is basically the major part of the Chinese wedding ceremony. This signifies respect and honoring of the parents for bringing them up to this day, while parents would often give them blessings, gifts that signified that, often gold jewelry or red packets. In another comment, it was explained that red packets are basically red envelopes with money in them. This entire ceremony is to pay respect and honor them. However absurd it is to them, it's nothing harmful or any way out of line for people of other cultures, just drinking tea. They're being super disrespectful to OP, OP's partner, and the in-laws. Reddit says OP is not the jerk here, and I agree. The tea ceremony has a lot of cultural significance to the groom and his family. Some of the commenters explained that in Chinese culture, the tea ceremony is basically the equivalent to the American wedding ceremony. There are lots of Western wedding traditions that seem absurd to some, but are deeply meaningful to others. I'm sure the bride's parents would feel insulted if the groom's parents didn't want to participate in the wedding ceremony and dismissed it as absurd and stupid. As long as participating in a wedding tradition doesn't require you to compromise your morals, it's probably best to go along with it, even if it is a little unusual. Also, as some commenters pointed out, if the bride and groom are planning on having kids at some point, these children will likely be raised with aspects of both parents' cultures. The bride's parents need to get used to the idea of Chinese cultural traditions if they want to play a meaningful role in their hypothetical grandchildren's lives. Now our last story is, it may be the day before you get married, I know we divorced 27 years ago, but tonight is the night I get your father back. As the heading says, my parents divorced 27 years before this happened. It's always been civil on my dad's side of things. He had custody of us 3 kids and never said a bad word against our mom. My mom, however, blamed every negative thing in her life on him and or my stepmother. I moved to England from Australia and ended up marrying the man I moved with/for. Coming from Australia, my whole ginormous family was coming, excluding the woman who was now my ex-stepmother. Chalets were booked, everyone happy and excited. With my whole family coming, brothers, sister, their partners, and children, aunts, uncles, etc., would all agree to book in the same place and have a bit of a holiday/family reunion. This place happens to have its own little pub, run by 2 friends of ours. We spent the week sightseeing, doing wedding prep and playing in the snow, a novelty for Australians, The first and likely last time they'll see it. Night before the wedding, we all decide to have a meal at the bar. Whole place is practically booked out with our group, so our mate running the place is quite happy. We all eat, drink, and be merry. Stories are told, laughs are had, many at my expense, as I had been vehemently anti-marriage as a child. My whole aim in life as a child was to be a maths teacher in the army. Poor me, not only am I terrible at maths, but I also hate being told what to do. So this dream was always going to fail. Given that we were all heading to the wedding venue the next day, most of us retired at a reasonable hour. Husband-to-be and I merrily hiccuped our way to our chalet singing Land Down Under, with my sister and her fiancé who were in the chalet next to us. And now we lay me down to sleep, and darn it, who the F is calling at this time? It's about 4 hours later, 2 in the morning. My mate from the pub is calling and said we should probably come down there. I shove coats and boots on over my pajamas and set off. Get there, and there is my dad, doing his best to avoid my mom, who has decided that this is the moment. What moment, you ask? This is the moment she and my father get back together and all the wrongs in her life are righted. She was drunker than a feral pig who broke into a campsite, drank 3 six-packs of beer, and tried to fight a cow. This is a true story. Google it. Dad didn't want to leave her at the bar alone, but he also didn't want to walk her back to her chalet and have her get the wrong idea, so had asked my mate to call me. I try and unwind her arms from him. She shrieks at me. Dad takes the opportunity to run away, and I'm left with her. It's only about 100 meters to her chalet, so I start to walk her home. She starts crying and telling me the following. Mom, your father still loves me, I know it. Me, Mom, can you just stop and think about what you're saying? Mom, it's been so long since I had a man like your father. He's satisfied me more than anyone I've been with. He's gotta... Me, seriously, no thanks, you can stop. Mom, Willie, that just makes me tremble. At this point, I stop walking. I hold her shoulders, look her in her very drunk eyes, and tell her that I do not need to know about her sex life with my dad ever. She burst into tears and told me that I ruined it all. I asked her to explain. Apparently, my wedding was going to be the catalyst for their getting back together, and she was going to give this to me for my wedding present. Having 2 united parents to hold my hand and walk me down the aisle. She then starts shouting that it would have all worked and I had to ruin it by showing up just when she was making her move. I sigh. I sigh again. I sigh once more for good measure and then ask her if she could please, just for this week, keep her stuff tidy and calm. I remind her that I'm getting married and that I didn't really want to be standing ankle deep in the snow at 2 in the morning listening to her talk about manipulating my dad into having sex with her. Readers, she toddlered me. She sat in the snow, crying, and refused to move until I told her that she could get back together with my father. So I left her there. I believe the snow worked its wonders on her burning loins because she didn't bother my dad again about getting back together. Tragically, it didn't stop her general entitlement. She still made her best effort at the wedding to attention-seek and cause drama. So I just wanted to end this on a bit of a high note, and this story seemed perfect for that. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, I'd love it if you gave it a like or let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.